So here's a quick one about a father and husband, ex-husband, who certainly, in a way, has the last laugh, if you will, when karma, in a strange way, comes for his ex-wife, who absolutely made his marriage miserable, cheated on him, all that. And now, guess what? She got cancer very early, in her early 40s, and now she's begging that he comes and sees her so she can pretty much say what she has to say, get off her chest. It's her last wish. And the marriage was so bad, he referred to her as Lucifer. And as you probably can imagine, this guy's like, nope, no way am I going to do that at all. Not a chance in hell. Literally, Lucifer hell. But of course, meltdowns are going on her side of the family. He wants to know if he's the villain here and all that type of thing. Title: Am I denying my ex-wife her last wish? And a shout out to Nishad for sending me this story. He says, so I, a 45-year-old male, had a previous relationship with Lucifer. You know, it's pretty bad when he's referring to his ex-wife as Lucifer. She is 43 years old. We were married for 5 years and dated for 7. From this, we had 3 kids. Dean, a 21-year-old male, Kylie, a 19-year-old female, and Jax, a 17-year-old male. Anybody thinking Mortal Kombat when they hear Jax? For context, a few months before I filed for divorce, I noticed that Lucifer became increasingly controlling and paranoid. Like if I went out, she needed to know where I was going. Example, I went to my nan's flat to help her, along with my uncle, and got some new heavy furniture inside the flat. Despite the fact that I had told her earlier where I was going, she demanded to know where I was going. Well, this is typical behavior of cheaters. Always want to know where you're going, assuming the worst, that type of thing. I researched why these types of things might happen and found out it might be a sign of cheating. Turns out, I was right. There you go. Basically, a friend of mine saw her and another man kissing and flirting inside a restaurant where he was with his siblings and mom. He sent me photos and I filed for divorce. There you go. And you can see why he calls her Lucifer. And obviously a lot more things are going on behind the scenes. He says, blah, 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 you get the idea. I didn't really care what I got in the divorce. I only pushed for 80-20 custody and to keep my money. Surprisingly, she didn't contest anything but the custody. I got 70-30 instead of 80-20, but hey, I picked myself up because I still had majority custody. Hey, if you got terms you're happy with, then great. Anyway, this year, my ex got terminal cancer. When Dean told me, Dean is his son, Kylie and Jax, I didn't really care. I comforted my kids, but personally, I didn't care. In fact, I'm ashamed of myself because of this. I was kind of excited to get full custody of Jax. Dean had already moved out, and Kylie decided she wanted to stay with only me when she turned 18. Well, you know what? It obviously was so freaking bad, with much, much more going on here that he's not mentioning, that for him to be like, hey, you know what? Good. That's one less a-hole in this world, so be it. We don't know his situation and his story here. So a few days afterwards, I got a call from Dean. He told me that Lucifer was bedridden and she'd asked Dean to talk to me. Oh, do tell. Basically, her last wish on earth was to have one last conversation with me. Oh, how wonderful. This guy's more than happy to be away from her all these years and she wants to have a last wish. I told Dean, quite bluntly, I'll admit, that no, I will not talk to her. All care I had for this woman evaporated when I found out she cheated on me. Dean understood, but told me to expect a call from his maternal side as they had basically treated her like the world revolved around her in her last few months. Look, his kids are the one's 21, the girl's 19, and the youngest is 17. It's not like they're little kids anymore. And if this guy doesn't want to see her, that's his business. Somehow my ex-in-laws got my number and bombarded me with texts and calls calling me a heartless and evil for not granting my ex her final wish. My kids and my ex's cousins, whom she never got along with, are on my side. But all Lucifer's family and a few mutual friends are on her side. Thanks for listening, Reddit. So, the way I see that is this guy owes her nothing. Okay, if she was that bad, and obviously there's way more going on here than I thought, then you know what? That's that. And he never has to ever see her again, and he got a good deal in the divorce that he was happy with. And it's interesting. I think he said that in terms of custody, he got the majority custody, which meant that obviously it didn't matter to her too much to have to see the kids as often, and there was a lot going on there. But the point is this, is that he doesn't owe anybody anything. He doesn't owe her anything. Now, if the kids really, it's the kid's mom. If the kids love their mom, I can see, if it was me, I'd make it clear. Look, kids, she's your mom, and we obviously have our differences, to put it mildly. So I'm sorry for you that you're losing your mother. But no, I will not be seeing her. Absolutely not. I don't want to be in her presence anymore, blah, blah, blah. However, for you kids, because I love you, what I will do is I will accept a letter from her. She can write a letter and tell me everything she's got to say, and I give you my word as your father that I will read the letter. And no, you're not going to stand there and watch me read the letter. I will read the letter so she can get off her chest what she has to say before she goes, and I will read it, etc., etc. Even if it's a long, ridiculous letter that's 18 pages front and back, 10 points for anybody who knows what I'm referring to with that little 18 pages joke, and I will do that. But that is as far as I will go. And if your family or her side of the family doesn't like that, then that's it. I'm not going to give you anything. That's what I will do. But beyond that, no, not at all. That's what I would do if it was me, for the kids, period, end of story. But seeing her, no freaking way, especially given the fact that he refers to her as Lucifer. But it's always interesting to me when these a-holes, every once in a while, these a-holes get what's coming to them. They get karma comes for them. And again, she's 43 years old and she's terminal cancer. That's pretty freaking young. But anyhow, that's what I think in the situation. Now, some comments here. Oh, and by the way, comment section was full of people tearing this guy apart like he's the root of all evil. I kid you not. Some people support him, but a lot were tearing him apart. But it's his choice at the end of the day. One guy says here, at one point you did love this woman. So much so that you married and had kids with her. I know there's bad blood now, but she's gotten the karma, and cancer is seriously painful and I can't say it right. One day, once the bitterness wears off, you'll think back that you could have been a better person, but let your past keep you from being the person leaving you to be no better than the other person. I've had this sort of thing happen, and it's the one thing I super regret. Not clearing the air and adding more pain and suffering than what you're dealing with. Do what's best for you. You will do what's best for you, though, and your best chance at your most fulfilling and happy life. Big hug. That's obviously from a woman. This guy is not you. And guess what? It drives me crazy when people say, you got to be the bigger person, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. Bullshit. That's crap you see in the TV and movies, And some people don't deserve that. Another one. So, let's cut through the noise and get straight to the point, shall we? Your ex-wife cheated on you, lied to you, and betrayed your trust. You have every right to feel hurt, angry, and even indifferent towards her, especially considering the circumstances of your divorce. Her terminal illness doesn't erase the pain she caused you or absolve her of responsibility for her actions. You're under no obligation to fulfill her last wish, especially if it brings you more distress than closure. Your priority should be your own well-being and that of your children. If talking to your ex-wife would only reopen old wounds or cause unnecessary turmoil, then it's perfectly reasonable to decline. Thank you. Do not let anyone guilt trip you into doing something that goes against your own sense of peace and integrity. Stand firm in your decision and focus on what's best for you and your family. In the end, you owe nothing to someone who shared your trust and disrespected your marriage. It's okay to prioritize yourself in the situation. Amen. When my dad, I've told you guys in the other channels, my dad, I'm from a second marriage. And my dad's first marriage, where he had 5 kids with, it ended very ugly from what I heard. And his ex did everything she could to turn the kids against my dad and make the divorce process miserable. I mean, it was really bad. And he paid her alimony for decades because my dad lived to be old and so did she. And I kid you not, right before she finally died, guess what? A letter comes from my dad, and he actually read it. And basically, she was saying things like, I was too tough on you, and blah, 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 what I did with the kids, and turning them against you, and all stuff like that. And my dad, at that time, he outlived her, which made him happy. And I think she was in her 80s at that point, and he was in his 80s. And basically, he read it because he was curious, but he was pretty much like, he didn't say these words, but pretty much from what he said and his facial expressions, he was pretty much like, F you. End his freaking story. So there was he didn't obviously when I talked to her, gave a shit, but You know, that's her way so she can go to heaven, if you will. But anyhow, this guy owes her nothing. But that's the compromise I would have made for the kids. Okay, for you guys, because I love you. She can write a letter. I will read it. I promise, no matter how freaking long the letter is. And that's the end of it. Period. That's what I think. So, guys, let me hear what you think in the comment section. Should he see her, hear her out, her dying wish, or nothing at all? I'd like to hear what you all think about that.